Well, I'm delighted to be here today. Family Futures have been really thinking a great deal about everything that's been going on in the world. It's been an extraordinary time with a worldwide pandemic affecting all countries throughout the world, and now with Black Lives Matter movement protests happening around the world, really bringing to the fore important issues, which I think have been further heightened by the pandemic, really highlighting disadvantaged groups in the community and social injustice. So I'm really delighted today that we are having our first of a number of different events that are happening where we're thinking about important issues for fostered and adopted children. So it is really lovely to have Dan Hughes here again, and to welcome also Dee Bamford, a long-standing member of the Family Futures team who has a very long relationship with Family Futures. So it's lovely to have both of them together thinking about this. I hope you have a really good and thoughtful afternoon reflecting on the complex issues and thinking about how we can support fostered, adopted and special guardianship children. Okay, well, I wish you well, and over to Dan and Dee.
Well, thank you very much, Jay. And Dee and I are looking forward to having a conversation with each other and with you about this very, very important matter in terms of focusing on identity and heritage, as was said, initiated in our minds for the need for the discussion because of Black Lives Matter. I am a psychologist in Maine, and I developed a model of therapy for traumatized children, especially children traumatized within their families and relationships, and children who've now moved into foster care or adoptive placements. And the model, I believe, has been quite effective in helping these children to resolve trauma around relationship disruptions or abuse or neglect, as well as to build new relationships with their foster carers and adoptive parents. It's a general model around those specific themes, but it has never been developed for other traumas that many of the children, foster and adoptive children, and their parents have to struggle with. And these are traumas that are not this specific issue of abuse or neglect, but are more society's abuse or neglect, or the fact that, in fact, minority populations, the less privileged sections of the population, have background trauma or sometimes foreground trauma that is pervasive and can interfere with the development of these children who are already challenged. I think it's what I would like to do now. This is a webinar focusing on foster and adoptive families in the UK. And I'd like to begin, if we could begin with Dee's perspective as an adoptive mother, as a therapist, as a woman who resides in the UK, with her awareness of the experiences and needs of these children with different ethnic minority children, as well as their families. Dee?
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Obviously, this is a new and global conversation for lots of people. And for many, because it's a new conversation, there are questions that some of us who work in the field, some of us who live with it, have been asking ourselves these questions for a long time. And now it's a joint conversation with the world. And when I think about the problems, I can't help thinking, well, we're not going to cover it all today. It's very important that we come to it with good intent, that we want to help the children, our children. Because it's a new conversation, I know that a lot of people, parents, professionals, might freeze when they think about it. It's the fear of doing something wrong, saying the wrong thing. Equally, people might have the urge to do something very quickly. So out they go, buying books, ready to face the challenge. And in my small way, I just want to give people the permission to say, yes, it is a big challenge. You might get it wrong, but that's no reason not to try. It's about entering into the conversation. It's about aiming to be, to use an attachment term, good enough, because the child will always know that you're trying, and as will any person of colour. They will know that you are giving it your best and that you come to it with good intent. The other thing that I wanted to say was that during this time, there's a new language that we've experienced, not just with pandemic. And so we've got lockdown, shielding, social distancing, but along with that, we have other words that might have entered into our lexicon of white privilege, white fragility, systemic racism. And people will be thinking, oh my goodness, again, it adds to the bulk of it. It's important that we just step very gently and look at some things that the children will show us, the young people will bring to us. And one of those is that, in my experience, that children will come from a position of feeling like an outsider. They've come from a place where maybe they feel like an outsider because they come from a family where things are not working. Then that's added to because they might be taken into care and they're placed with another family. They might be used to keeping secrets as a result of that, and I'll come back onto the secrets thing. But then they'll join a family where they might also feel like an outsider. And it's hard then to explain, because they might feel that they have to, that I feel like this because you don't look like me, or I don't look like you. And that's often the first hurdle, the first problem that people will perceive. I know that at Family Futures we work with a range of children, and I'm sure this is the same everywhere, that children might come from a different country, a country where they are in the majority, and then they look and then they see, oh, I'm now in a different country and I'm in the minority, and that is something else that is sure to rock someone's foundations, together with the fact that they're there now with a new parent or parents. Often as well, they come where they have a worry about trusting, and that's because they come from a different place, their language is different maybe, terms of reference will be different, and coming back to the thing about keeping secrets, if they want to protect their new parents, their new carers, the people who have taken them in, whether they might be a family member, or it could be any other sort of fostering situation or adoption, the child will then quite frequently have an experience, might be racist, it could be anything, but then they don't tell the family. They don't want to upset them. They don't want to rock the boat, or they just minimize. This is my lot now. This is what I have to accept. So there is that.
Want to hear more? You can download the full video via our website. All the links you need are in the caption. For more training, webinars and resources, visit familyfutures.co.uk/training.